Bubba and the Old Man. Today we are going to be discussing the two teams that we feel had the best offseason. I know the team I picked didn't technically have the best offseason, but I feel that they put themselves in position to make a Super Bowl run. With that being said, Bubba, take it away.
I chose the Cincinnati Bengals because I believe they improved their team the most. They drafted Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. They signed Josh Bynes, Mackenzie Alexander, DJ Reader, Trey Waynes, Von Bell. They retained A.J. Green, and Jonah Williams, their anchor at left tackle, is now healthy. They put themselves in the best position to improve by the most wins, I think. I think they'll go 8-8 next year because they improved the defense by so much by getting Josh Bynes to help. Jermaine Pratt, they signed Mackenzie Alexander, solid corner. DJ Reader, very good defensive tackle. They signed Trey Waynes, good young corner. They signed Von Bell.
A barely above average safety.
He's a very good safety.
Not really.
They retained A.J. Green.
If he was very good, he'd still be with the team that drafted him.
He's a very good safety. They just found National Jenkins, who's one of the best safeties in the league. But this is very similar to back when they drafted A.J. Green and Andy Dalton in the same draft, and then they had 5 straight years of making the playoffs.
But it never made it past the first round. And I don't feel that they put themselves in position. I think they got a 6-10, 7-9 roster at best.
6-10, a couple plays go this way, a couple plays go that way. You're 8.
Not in that division. In that division, they got the Browns, the Ravens, the Steelers.
Out of those 3 teams, who improved more than this team?
I would argue the Ravens.
How?
The Ravens arguably had the best draft.
Well, refresh my memory. How their draft go?
Very good.
They got J.K. Dobbins.
Son, I'm just saying they got the league MVP returning.
Yeah.
They arguably got a top 5 tight end. They got a great running game.
Mm-hmm.
Always have stout defense.
Their defense isn't as good as it normally is.
It is always stout. And then you got the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't care if Big Ben goes out there hobbling on 2 nubs. They're still going to compete for a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm.
The Browns, who knows what the hell they're doing, but they could jump up and beat Cincinnati twice.
Well, Cincinnati, over the past 2 seasons, have had bad seasons. They've had bad injury luck. They had horrible injury luck last year. Jonah Williams went down before the season even started. Jonah Williams was the best offensive lineman out of last year's draft because, well, the Bengals thought he was the best offensive lineman. They took him at 11 first offensive lineman off the board. A.J. Green's always going to be top 10 receiver. You got Joe Burrow, first pick of the draft. You got T. Higgins, who I didn't know. He actually grew up a Bengals fan. Modeled his game after A.J. Green. That was actually his draft player comparison. Josh Bynes, always good. He's been a solid linebacker his entire career. Mackenzie Alexander, young, not really done anything, got a lot of potential. DJ Reader, one of the best D tackles in free agency, arguably the best D tackle in free agency, outside of Chris Jones. Trey Waynes, good young corner. Von Bell wasn't what he was expected to be, but he's still a good safety. I mean, I don't understand what they did wrong. What did they do wrong tonight?
They didn't do nothing wrong, but they didn't do anything great either.
They got Joe Burrow.
Okay.
They got their franchise quarterback.
Unproven.
Yeah, he's unproven. So
He could be a superstar. He could be a bust. You don't know. You're basing that off of 1 year at LSU.
Yeah.
One really great year at LSU.
Not just really great, the greatest college football season of all time.
Okay, and he had bukus of talent around him.
He had bukus of talent around him the year before, too.
he's not going to have that kind of talent and go up against adequate talent in Cincinnati.
Look, Cincinnati's receiving core is very good. Very good. Got A.J. Green. Now they got T. Higgins. They have Tyler Boyd, who's a 1,000-yard receiver. They got kid from Florida State, Alden Tate, had 500 receiving yards last year. They got C.J. Uzomah. They got Drew Sample coming back at tight end.
Right, but you're pinning all of this on a incoming rookie quarterback.
That rookie can't play any worse than Andy Dalton did last year.
With a rookie left tackle in Jonah Williams. He missed all of last year. I'm still considering him a rookie coming into this year.
The offensive line was really bad through, I think, the first 11 games. But over the last 5 games, they were very good. Very good. That O-line was. Now, look, Jonah Williams is an unproven left tackle. But he can't be any worse than the left tackle they had last year.
I don't see it. I see 6-10, 7-9 next 2 years.
Okay. Well, what is that, like 4 or 5 game improvement?
Well,
and then after that, you keep getting better. I think Zach Taylor can be a good coach.
It don't matter who they get to play and who they get at coach. They're still one of the worst run, financially strapped organizations in the NFL. And they're always going to be that.
Well, this year they spent the 3rd most money in free agency. So they are trying to put the talent around Joe Burrow. They are working to make their team better. They're working. Look at all these signings they made. When have you ever seen?
I got a list of signings here too.
Look at all these signings. Look, they have drastically improved as an organization. They want to win championships. That's why they went and they spent all this money. If they didn't think Joe Burrow could take them to a Super Bowl, then they wouldn't have went and spent this money. Joe Burrow will lead this team to 8-8.
Baltimore will win 2 Super Bowls before they play for one. Baltimore will win 2 more before Cincinnati plays for one.
You can't compare Baltimore's one of the
Pittsburgh
greatest.
will win 2 more before Cincinnati plays for one. Cleveland will be in the playoffs before Cincinnati will be.
Since you forget, Cincinnati is not the horrible team that they showed last year. Over the course of the time that they've been a franchise, multiple deep playoff runs, they're a perennial playoff team.
There is never multiple deep playoff runs.
They've gotten past the first round, I'm sure, and they are always in the hunt for the playoffs. Outside of the past few years, they are not as bad an organization as you're making them out to be. They are not a worse organization than Cleveland.
Number one, they don't have Marvin Lewis anymore.
Okay, they ain't got
Marvin Lewis was the main reason they made them playoff runs, because he built that team around good to great defense, and I don't see it no more.
Think about that run.
I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I don't wish nothing bad on none of these teams. I don't see it. I don't see 8 wins next year. I see at most 7, and that's being generous.
You saying that Cleveland won't be in the playoffs again before they will play for a Super Bowl is ridiculous. When was the last time Cleveland made the playoffs?
Long time.
It's been a long, long time. This team was in the playoffs 3 years ago.
It's not that team anymore. It's none of the. It's not the coaching staff. It's a bunch of different players.
Zach Taylor will be a good coach.
Son, that's all well and good, but good ain't good enough in the NFL.
Good is good enough to make the playoffs. Matt Nagy ain't no great coach. He won 8 games last year.
Matt Nagy had a lot more talent.
Matt Nagy did not have more talent than this.
And when Matt Nagy went to the playoffs the year before as a first-year head coach, he had arguably the best defensive coordinator in the game.
Okay.
And the Bears have something that this team doesn't.
What?
Khalil Mack.
Okay. He can't lead them to the playoffs. No, he's an injury. First off. Now, second of all, look, the Bears did not have more talent than this team has.
Outside of quarterback, I would argue they did.
How?
When they went to the playoffs.
When
where's the Eddie Jackson on that list?
Where's the Eddie Jackson?
Yeah, where's the Eddie Jackson?
They don't have an Eddie Jackson.
Okay.
They have Jesse Bates, who's also a very good safety.
But he's not Eddie Jackson, right?
Okay, he's not Eddie Jackson.
Khalil Mack, where's the Khalil Mack at?
Okay, outside of the superstar.
Hang on, we're going to go down this whole list. Where's the Khalil Mack at?
Nowhere.
Where's the Roquan Smith or Danny Trevathan?
First off, Josh Bynes is better than Danny Trevathan.
Okay, is he better than Roquan?
No.
Okay. Where's the Akeem Hicks?
The Akeem Hicks. Carl Lawson, Carlos Dunlap, Geno Atkins is one of the best D tackles in the league.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'm not arguing that Geno Atkins ain't great.
Sam Hooker.
But I would argue that Eddie Goldman is just as good.
Eddie Goldman is a middle of the pack defensive tackle. He can't touch Geno Atkins.
Oh, God. Get real happy now. Hang on. We're still going. Kendall Fuller. Or Kyle Fuller. One of the Fuller brothers.
Wow.
Which Fuller brothers in Chicago?
William Jackson is a very good corner.
Is he as good as Fuller?
Probably not.
Okay. We won't go Prince Amukamara because half the league's better than him. When they made that playoff run, they had Adrian Amos. Where's the Adrian Amos?
Okay. I'm talking about last year, Dad.
Well, you can't talk about last year because last year they didn't make the playoffs.
I'm talking about 8-8. 8-8. I said 8-8. Bears went 8-8 last year.
Bears went 8-8 with below average quarterback play.
Okay. Well,
that.
Keep going. Who else is on that team?
All right. Alan Fuller.
Who?
Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson. AJ Green is way better than Allen Robinson.
He wasn't on the field last year.
Tyler Boyd is better than Allen Robinson.
AJ Green wasn't on the field last year, and Tyler Boyd is not better than AJ.
Tyler Boyd is better than Allen Robinson.
He is not better than
He had Andy Dalton throwing him passes, and he still got 1,000 yards.
Okay, and then Andy Dalton is head and shoulders better than Mitchell Trubisky.
He is not. Mitchell Trubisky and Andy Dalton are on the same level.
Oh my God, no, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're
Okay,
not.
keep going.
David Montgomery.
Joe Mixon is one of the best backs in the league.
I'm not arguing. Why are you getting all butthurt?
I'm not. Keep going.
Who else did they have? The Bears have Taylor Gabriel.
Really good game.
Yeah.
All four of the Cincinnati Bengals top receivers this year are better than Taylor Gabriel.
Miller, receiver Miller. Anthony Miller.
Anthony Miller.
Yeah.
Tyler Boyd's better than him.
We won't even list the horrible tight ends that the Bears had.
Oh, horrible tight ends for them too.
But still, 8-8, and top to bottom, left to right, the defense in Chicago, head and shoulders are better than the defense, even right now, that the Bengals have put together.
Who's going to be playing safety for the Bears next year?
Eddie Jackson.
Outside of Eddie Jackson. He can't play both.
I can't remember his name. He was the backup safety to Ha-Ha last year. That's another one. The worst starting safety at Chicago was better than both starting safeties.
Jesse Bates is a good safety.
Not really. Son.
Jesse Bates is a good safety.
He ain't better than Ha-Ha or Eddie Jackson.
Him and Ha-Ha are on the same level.
Anyhow, continue your weak ass argument there.
All right. And their only losses were Andy Dalton, Drake Kirkpatrick, Nick Vigil, Marquez Denard, Cordy Glenn, John Miller, and Tony McGray. That's their only losses.
I'll give you that's not a whole lot, and they lost Dre. That's a step in the right direction. I've never believed in him as a DB. His entire career, I don't think he's got over 5 interceptions.
Well, as long as he shuts down his receiver, it don't really matter.
Yeah, but he's not that good.
Okay. Well,
Andy Dalton, for many years, was a good, steady, middle of the road, just a very good quarterback. I don't know what happened last year.
He was awful.
He had horrible O-line play. I know that much.
Yeah, but he was awful. Even when he had a clean pocket, he was off the entire year. Even with the good receivers he has, having Joe Mixon in the backfield put pressure on the defense. They shouldn't have only won 2 games last year, even with the injuries that they had.
Yeah, but horrible O-line play goes a long way.
I know, and they're improving it. So.
I guess.
All right, who's your team?
I got the Buffalo Bills. E.J. Gaines, defensive back, adds depth and versatility. Vernon Butler, defensive tackle, adds depth and gives a spark in the pass rush. Mario Addison should be a seamless fit because he played with this defensive coordinator before. He should be able to step right in and take Shaq Lawson's spot on the defensive line. A.J. Klein is a smart linebacker who could replace Lorenzo Alexander, who retired. Quentin Jefferson, defensive tackle, he has experience and depth. Josh Norman, I think he's going to come right in and be the number 2 DB. I don't think he is what he was a few years ago. I wouldn't have signed him. I think there's better out there. You could have drafted a rookie and probably got better quality. But they signed him, so I think he's going to be the number 2 behind Tre'Davious White.
I just think he's a smart veteran that'll really help out the younger corners and help Tre'Davious White.
He should, but
he's not good in man coverage.
He's not the DB he used to be. Quentin Spain, offensive guard. With him signing and returning, it means all 5 starting offensive linemen will be playing another year together, which should make them better because all 5 of them already know how the other one plays, how they got to play beside them. Jason Kroom adds depth. Tyler Matakevich, linebacker, special teams player, should add depth there. Hope I didn't butcher his name too bad. Tywin Jones missed the better part of last year. I think he only carried the ball 9 times. But he brings back depth and he knows the offense. Darrell Williams adds offensive line depth. Defensive end Brian Cox Jr. His daddy, coincidence, played for the Dolphins back in the day until he was pretty well hated by the Bills fans, I'm pretty sure. But anyhow, they signed Brian Cox Jr. He adds depth to the defensive end spot. And the big signing of their offseason was bringing in Stephon Diggs, giving Josh Allen that go-to number 1 receiver. I'm expecting big things out of Stephon Diggs. In my opinion, he's top 5, top 10 receiver in the league. He's got speed. He's got great hands. Just really, really good. I wish he was on the Giants. But gives Josh Allen a solid number 1. Their losses: Frank Gore, Norris Perry, Adrian Waddle, Shaq Lawson, Jordan Phillips, Corey Liggett, Maurice Alexander, Julian Stanford, Kevin Johnson. They picked up a lot more than they lost, so that just makes them that much better. They had a very solid draft, adding A.J. Epinesa in the 2nd round, Zach Moss, running back out of Utah in the 3rd round, Gabriel Davis, wide receiver out of UCF, gives them a tall receiver, should be able to go up and get that 50-50 ball. Jake Fromm, going to be a solid backup for years to come. Tyler Bass, kicker out of Georgia Southern. Some was arguing he was the best kicker in this draft. Another tall receiver, go up and get the 50-50 ball, Isaiah Hodgins. And Dane Jackson just adds another piece to their defensive backfield. I think you got the Kansas City Chiefs, who are ahead of everybody. They didn't lose a whole lot this year, but they didn't have the money to add anything outside of the draft. And then after them is still in the AFC. I think the second best team in the league is the Baltimore Ravens. And then you got the Niners. And I think the Buffalo Bills, with what they added this offseason, at least put themselves in the discussion with the Ravens, the Niners. It's a three-team race between the Ravens, Niners, and Bills, in my opinion.
It's just with the Bills picking up Stephon Diggs.
I think it'll be kind of hard for them to balance that out because the Bills are run heavy. It's cold up there in Buffalo. They want to run the football. That's why I was confused why they didn't bring Frank Gore back, but he's aging. Nobody knows when he's going to fall off. He hasn't yet, though.
And I understand them not bringing him back. I think Devin Singletary is going to take a big step forward. But the thing that they added when they added Stephon Diggs was, all right, late in the game, if it's a close game or a tie game, we've already seen what he can do late in the game. The miraculous play he had against the Saints a few years back. You're gonna have to give, unless you got the best defensive back in the league on him, you're gonna have to give him safety help, and that opens up a tight end or a slot, or the other side's wide out.
Is he gonna be okay with having those games that John Brown had last year, 1 catch for 9 yards? Is he? Because that really bothered OBJ last year in Cleveland when he would only get 3 catches for 30 yards, but Nick Chubb would go off for 150.
I really don't think it matters if he's okay with it or not. They're paying him.
But that was one of the problems in Minnesota. Minnesota was also run heavy. They had Dalvin Cook, who's one of the best backs in the league. It's just Josh Allen is wildly inaccurate at times.
He is, but I still think
I don't know.
You're gonna have growing pains with Josh Allen. Baltimore's gonna have growing pains with Lamar Jackson.
But he don't have those wildly inaccurate games that Josh Allen does.
And I understand that, and he's a faster runner and all that. We get that, but you're gonna have them growing pains.
It's just.
And I think really, I think that everybody in the NFC is trying to catch up to the Niners, who went without Garoppolo were horrible. With him, made the Super Bowl. You got 3 teams in the AFC with the Chiefs and the Ravens, and now the Buffalo Bills. And I wouldn't be shocked to see any of the 3 make it to the Super Bowl. And on any given Sunday, anybody can be beat.
It's just
that's why they play the game.
But the thing about Stephon Diggs, I think his ego's too big for him to have those games where he has 4 catches for 50 yards. You know, it's just, and you're looking at it from the perspective of, oh, well, they're paying him. It's not that. That's not how it works. If he is unhappy, he will not play the same way. He'll have that Randy Moss syndrome.
And I understand that, and only time will tell. But we're gonna let the season play out. But this is the team that I think, out of all 32, put themselves in the best position to make a Super Bowl run. I mean, they needed a number 1 receiver. They went out and got a number 1 receiver.
And then the Lorenzo.
They needed depth. They went out and got depth. They knew Lorenzo Alexander was going to retire. They replaced him. They needed DB depth. They went out and got depth at DB. I mean, they filled every hole.
Except the Josh Allen hole.
I think he's sleeping on him, son. I think Josh Allen's going to be a very good quarterback. Is he going to be, a top 10 quarterback? He don't have to be, son. We've already seen too many times you don't have to be a top 10 quarterback to make it to the Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl.
But the reason Stephon Diggs wanted out of Minnesota
I don't know if it was because he wasn't getting enough catches or what, but I know Kirk Cousins had some bad games, and he did not like Kirk Cousins. So, and he wanted a big arm quarterback. Now he's got a big arm quarterback, but what about when Stephon Diggs gets behind that defense 3 or 4 times a game and Josh Allen overthrows him 3?
All Josh Allen can do is put it out there, buddy. You got to go get it.
I mean, Stephon Diggs is fast, but he's not that fast.
I mean, I'm just saying. You know, if you go deep and he puts it out there, you got to go get it. It's on you.
It's just, I feel like it's going to hurt Stephon Diggs having Josh Allen at quarterback instead of Kirk Cousins.
Well, we'll see. But they needed a number one. They went and got him. They went and got the best number one available.
Well, Nuke was available.
Well, nobody knew Nuke was available.
He was available for a 2nd round pick.
Yeah,
They got up first. Multiple picks for him.
But isn't Diggs younger?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Might have him for a few more years.
I don't think he's young.
But anyhow, if you like the video, please hit the like, subscribe. Don't forget to ring the bell. We still ain't back at work. We're still on shutdown. We're going to work our tails off to get some more videos out to you. It's Bubba, the old man. Have a nice day. Stay healthy. God bless. Who could replace Lorenzo Alexander, who retired?
Hold up. Selena, go!